Good morning. Welcome to Hometown Heroes podcast. This is episode 92, and
Woo!
we have a great show today. In just 2 days, less than 48 hours, is the 80th anniversary of D Day. And Roll Call has a few of our veterans over in France right now uh, to to observe this Battle of D-Day. It's not it's a celebration because it was really an epic battle that kind of turned the tide of the war in Europe. But Mary, just kind of go down the row there and tell us who we got that's over there.
So everybody knows the gentleman sitting in front of the American flag, Don Graves, Iwo Jima survivor. And one of our folks we have had on the show multiple times. There's Bell, and then Al Chatwin. So Don was Marine. Al is Navy and served predominantly in Guam, and Al was really responsible for ferrying people and things in and out of the war zone. Then next to him, we have Jack Stowe, and Jack Stowe is famous for being the guy who lied about his age and went in at 15 years old. Did some really silly things that a kid does, but he served in the Navy, in the Pacific Theater also. Then Bill Kelly. Now get this, Bill will be celebrating his 104th birthday in September. And
That's
he is
amazing.
on this trip. Pictures of him there, and he looks like he is thrilled to tears to be there. One of our newest members came along in the last couple of years in the red shirt, Mitchell, and I believe Vern is in two now. Just another great American, and bringing up the tail end there is Charlie Braun. Charlie served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Great bunch of guys.
That is a great bunch of guys. We've got another guest with us today. This is Bill Phillips, and you have several of your offspring are over there, aren't they?
Yes, I've got 4 kids and my husband are over there. Yes.
My goodness. Which four kids?
Liberty and Faith, who of course are devoted to roll call, and then Honor and Providence. Been a while since they've been at roll call, but they are over there. Yes, and then my husband Doug.
Okay. For you that don't know the Phillips family, they have, of all the people I know, they have invested their lives and just raised a tremendous group of young children. Well, not young, they're getting pretty old now,
Yeah.
but they honor and love our veterans. And they have brought so much joy and happiness to our World War II veterans. Let me just kind of introduce everybody else. Lauren Payton, she is a member of Roll Call, and she is everywhere. She does a lot of things for our veterans, and especially our World War II veterans, those that are at home or in care facilities. She's always stopping by to see them, taking them to dinner. But Lorna, we just appreciate you because you really help us stay in contact with those World War II veterans. And then we have Carrie Ortegal. She is the founder of Holidays and Heroes. She's a great supporter of our military and our veterans and our first responders. So, Carrie, thank you, and Lorna, for being here. Bill, thank you for being on Hometown Heroes. The other day, it was Friday, I think, and that's whenever they had the send off at DFW Airport. You can see there's Kelly with the
Don.
American. I'm sorry. I'm with the Air Power Foundation, and then there's Carrie, and there's Marita Sumner, the retired colonel, and Lorna, and then Don Graves. Don was, of course, he's always excited to be going places. So this is certainly a good trip for him. This just shows you a few of the veterans. There was a great crowd. I didn't go, but from the pictures and videos I saw, it was a great crowd. And Lorna and Carrie were both there. So there was a lot of patriotism that day, wasn't there?
Oh, it was amazing. I kind of had an idea of what to expect, but when I got there, I was blown away. I mean, it was just filled with excitement and it was a real party atmosphere. They had a band playing music, that old 40s kind of wartime music. Um, People passing by through the terminal, they were like, "What's going on?" We would tell them who it was, and they got all caught up in it. There were literally hundreds and hundreds of people there to send these vets off. It was just so amazing.
It was
Lorna,
Really glad
crazy.
I was a part of it.
Lorna, I think you said that this was one of the Rosie Riveters. There's
That she is. I don't recall her name at the moment, but yeah,
I
she's
do.
Rosie.
Her name is Connie
Thank you.
Palacioz. Palacioz. She gave us her little trading card.
Yeah, they give them
So
those. That's
I
really,
got it.
really special that they give them those.
there's
And
not
I
Yeah.
many.
believe I believe she lives in New York.
She came a long way.
Yeah, we met people from all over the United States.
And
Mhm.
Carrie was telling me about this fella.
Yeah.
He was in the
Oh,
quartermaster.
yeah. His name is Lewis Brown. Really sweet man. I think he lives now in California, but they gave me this. I got this book, and it's about D-Day, and it's got pictures and stories of all the veterans that are on this trip. So I was able to go back and refer to it just to get my facts straight. But yeah, he was responsible for transporting supplies. Um, they says they operated under perilous conditions against a desperate enemy as they delivered critical ammo, gasoline, and supplies, often under fire. So that's what his job was in the Army. And I think after the war, he moved to Los Angeles and he worked for the city of Los Angeles for 33 years. But really, really sweet man. And he was so excited to be on this trip.
Here's
He was
a picture of just part of the crowd out there. And there's our friend
yeah.
Al Chatwin.
Mhm. Did you
Al,
see that picture of him on Facebook this morning that Beyond the Call posted? You got to check it out. He's standing on the beach with three other service members in their camo, and it's just the back of them all, with their arms around each other. It is a poignant picture.
It
That's
sure is.
good.
You've got to
Sure
look
is.
at it.
What an honor for all.
Hmm.
Here's them taking, I don't know how many people the American took over there, but they took a lot of them.
68 World War IIs went on this flight, and then the day prior, Charlie Brown went, and the day after, there were 50 more World War IIs flying out.
Yeah, there were quite a few Medal of Honor recipients on this trip. And then I noticed they had medical staff and then all the escorts. I think that plane had over 300 that
A
they were
lot of
taking.
people there. And here's the way they traveled. Here's the guys that got to sit in the good seats. These are
Yeah.
some pictures that Mitch Bell sent. So just a tremendous trip just going over there. And just for you two to have been over there for the send off, that's one of those memories that you'll cherish forever.
I
So
really will.
Yeah, and just to let people know, they do have medical staff
Right.
going on the trip.
I can't imagine taking that many, geriatric people. I mean, all of them are at least 97 and older.
Right.
And every one of them were in a wheelchair. And I can't imagine what it was like loading that plane. And I don't know if they transported those wheelchairs with them or if they had another set waiting for them when they got there. But I can't even imagine what that was
They
like.
probably
Well, at one point, the roads are different in France, and at one point, one of the buses got stuck, and they had to take everybody off, and the townsfolk jumped in to help, didn't hesitate.
Mhm.
to get them down a hill or wherever they needed to go. It was kind of tricky.
Bill, how many times do you think that you've been to Normandy?
Probably 7 or 8 at this point.
Okay. And Liberty and Faith, they've been there quite a bit, haven't they? A few more times.
A lot more than I have. Yes, they try to make it to D-Day almost every year. Yeah.
And also, you have Bridge to History. And so you take a group of children
Yes.
there.
Well, yeah, so yes, in the fall we take kids. We would have loved to have taken kids over the 80th, but there are so many people, they can't even get cell service right now because there's so many people. But yes, this fall we'll take another group of kids, try to get them learning about World War II history and understanding the importance of honoring and remembering the people that went before us and paved the way for us. I have seen few communities like the community in Normandy really understand how to show honor and remembrance. And we want our American kids to understand that and see the example that the French have set and really bring that back here and get our kids excited about transferring all of this knowledge of history and understanding everything that happened so that it will affect us in the years to come. We need that right now in America.
We sure
than
do. Here's
Yes.
here's a picture from France, and the people just line the streets to welcome the veterans. And whenever you go with Bridge to History, you usually stay in the people's home, don't you?
We do. We stay in a private home in St. Mary Glees that has been offered to our kids every time we, and the families, they want to meet the American kids, so we go to the school, meet school kids, go around, meet the locals. It's in one sense in a tour, it's a tour, but it's really not. It's much more like a genuine cultural experience with the families and the locals and the school kids, and really give them a taste of what it feels like in France, and then the French get to explain why the Americans are important to them.
And that's something that we don't teach in our school like that. I mean,
That's why Bridge to History is so important. And Rick, we've had Liberty on the show, and we've talked about the upcoming luncheon and the focus being Liberty and Bridge to History, along with a few of those kids that have gone on that trip. So it's going to be really neat to see what they're doing with that information after they came home. So how are they taking the knowledge they gained and giving that to others that they come in contact
Absolutely.
with? So it's going to be really neat at the luncheon.
it will be. It will be. Carrie, I want to bounce back on one of the pictures. This is Jim Taylor and General Pat Brady, and we have the Medal of Honor Museum that will be opening in 2025, won't it?
That's
That's
right.
correct.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
One night, I think Lorna was there too. We had the bringing of the gifts for the holidays for
Mhm.
heroes, and all of a sudden this van or like Suburban shows up, and there were 4 Medal of Honor recipients. I never have been to I
Yeah.
mean, we probably had 30 or 40 people there. Then all of a sudden, 4 Medal of Honor recipients showed up, and Jim was one of them. Jim Taylor was one of
Yes, he
them.
was.
So
Mhm.
that's
Yeah, I've invited him back for this year.
good.
When I
They
saw him
seem
at the
interested.
airport, I reminded him, and he said, "Oh yeah, that was a fun party." And I said, "Well, come back this year if you're in town. We'd love to have you."
Yeah.
Britt Slabinski was also there, and spoke to him, and extended the same invitation, obviously. And that Pat Brady, that's the first time that I've actually met him, was at the airport. So I was pleased to get to meet him.
Yeah, he's a great guy, great speaker, and a real hero. I mean, they're all real heroes, but man, he went above and beyond like they all do. So that's just some of the exciting things we have living where we live in Texas, and San
That's right.
Antonio is where Bill and her family live. That's a hotbed for veterans activities and military. So uh, Texas does honor our veterans a lot. So
Texas does a fantastic job, and honestly, I'm so thankful for you guys at Roll Call. The way that y'all have brought the veterans together so that they can meet each other, and then so that the community can come in and meet them. That's an opportunity that, and I wish it could be replicated in every state and in every city. Just think about it. If there was a place in every state or every city that monthly you could come and meet all these veterans. First, it started out, as World War II, but now it's inclusive of everyone. They get to meet each other, and then the community gets to meet them. That's an incredible resource. So grateful
Yes,
for y'all.
and I love that you said that, Belle, because we have put together guidance for how to do it, and we've made the offer before. If there is anybody that listens to this and says, hey, I'd like to do that where I am, it's pretty simple. All they have to do is reach out to us. They put a board together, raise their money to get started. If they need help, we'll come out and help them in the beginning. And what they raise will be there. They'll just be a chapter. We don't ask anything of them. We want to give them the tools to do this. We'll give them all the tools that we have, the use of, the technology that we've been using, everything. So we can give them everything they need to get this thing started. All they need is a board and find somebody to fund them the first time. And once they get it off the ground, they won't struggle as much to find funding if they can find folks that believe in what they're doing.
Right.
So,
And it can start with just taking a few to lunch.
yeah,
that's how Roll Call started, isn't it?
exactly. 10 years ago this month.
But
Wow.
the foundation for any organization are the great supporters. And Mary, we have three of our great supporters right here with Lorna and Carrie and Bill. Y'all have given us so much support, especially the Phillips family. I mean, how many miles have you and your family traveled back and forth from San Antonio to Fort Worth to be at a luncheon that lasts a couple of hours? That's just a real testament of a family that is truly involved in loving veterans and honoring them. And Lorna, you're taking them places all the time, to the baseball games, the rodeo, and like I said a while ago, just checking on them. You and I went and I shared a birthday with Ernie LaCroix. So every February 22nd, after he got moved to that facility, that care facility, Lorna and I'd meet up there to celebrate his birthday and my birthday. I mean, he wasn't with us anymore mentally, but he knew we were there. So,
Yeah.
And then Bill McIntyre, you take Bill to dinner with your mom, and he's 103, and he's going to be 104 this month.
Yeah,
isn't he?
next month.
Next month.
In
Okay.
July. Mm-hmm.
Next month.
And then Carrie, you're so involved with our military at NASJRB with the Holidays and Heroes, and you're also involved with Roll Call and a lot of other organizations, the Medal of Honor Museum, and we just really thank you three and just honor y'all for the things that you do for Roll Call and for our veterans. So.
Thank you.
It's been so enriching to my life that I could not imagine any one of these organizations not being a part of it. I've just absolutely loved it. And Roll Call I have not been involved with for as long as Lorna has, but I had this conversation with Mary not too long ago, and I just teared up talking about it. It's just become so meaningful to me. The people that I have met there, it has just completely enriched my life. And I'm so appreciative of your organization and the people that are involved in it.
You know,
So am I.
it was just a week or so ago that I got a text from Carrie, and she said, "I need you to help me." I said, "Okay, what do you need, Carrie?" She said, "Well, I've got some patriotic socks that I want to give to Don Graves and Al Chatwin so they can wear on the beaches of Normandy. And I'm going to be out of town. Could you take them to me?" So I went and got them, and she'd written a poem about these patriotic socks and the beaches of Normandy and the sand. And so it's just little things like that, doing things special for those veterans, especially our World War II veterans, because as sad as it is, we only have them for a few more years. And one day
Little things go a long way with these veterans.
One day we're going to read that the last World War II veteran has passed away. So
I don't look forward to that.
We just have to capture the moment with them and enjoy them. So.
I hope I get pictures of them wearing those socks on the beach.
They better
I
give
hope
us some
so
pictures.
too, because they were really excited. They were like, "Oh, everybody else is gonna be jealous."
I know. If I had known all the different World War II vets going on that trip, I would have had some for all 6 of them. But
Right.
I was really only aware of Al and Dawn, so I should have called Mary and asked who all's going. But anyway, hopefully they'll wear them and I'll get a picture.
I'd still be delivering them.
Somebody to get pictures.
I'm sure, because Don's always got his patriotic socks and pull his pants up.
Yep, he's always
everybody can see them. So I'm sure he'll be proud of those socks.
I hope so.
This is a picture of France, and you can just see all those veterans. You think about each one of them has a story to tell.
You can pick Vern out in the middle.
Yeah, and that blue for sure.
Jacket and his hands up. That's Vern. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what they did. Like Cliff Stump, he fought all the major battles, and then Bill McIntyre was on the ground in North Africa processing all the paperwork of the downed pilots' names coming in. Very important job.
Right.
Al Chatwin on Guam, he needed to be there. We needed him there.
And you see those guys later in life, and you wonder, here, like Carmen Giese, here's a guy that spent 8 days in a foxhole at Bastogne, and was a warrior. And then, you wonder about what he did later in life. And he was a postman, delivering the mail. And probably every day he probably had thoughts about those days that were so cold. I mean, even in the harshest winters in Fort Worth, Texas, nothing could compare to the winter he spent in Bastogne. But there he is delivering mail,
Well, and because of the cold they endured there, when it got cold here, they would suffer from that.
Yeah.
Because of the frostbite they endured before.
And like Cliff Stump, there's another guy, just a quiet little unassuming guy, and man, he was in some of the major battles over there, So.
Yeah, it was really something to see the day that Cliff and Carmen met at a roll call luncheon for the first time. That was one for the record books. It was like they just locked eyes, and then they just had so much to share, and it was. Those are the heartwarming things that just, tell you that's why we do what we do, because that gave them that connection. And so then every lunch they sat together until COVID, and then we didn't have them. And there's Liberty speaking.
Hey, Liberty.
Hi. I'm so late. I'm sorry. It's France, so nothing is on time or in the right place.
Hey, that's okay. We've been waiting for you.
I'm so sorry. So we were just over at the drop zone. We're going to be doing jumping tomorrow. And we had to walk the whole area with the jump masters. And then at the last minute, Tracy Hunter, who has our dear sweet Al Chatwin and Don Graves, said, "Come over here." So we ran over, and I just said hi to them, but there's a lot of people. So here we are.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah. How
We're
are
so
y'all?
glad. We're doing
What's
good.
going on?
Well, we've been talking about the send-off. Lorna and Carrie were at the send-off the other day at DFW. And we've been talking about roll call, about your family, and about our veterans, how we love on our veterans. So well, tell us where you are.
So I am in pronunciations are not for me. I'm in Ravenaville, which is there's a German battery. It's trying to remember what unit was there, but it's a really, really cool German battery that we naturally took out, and we will take out again when we jump in. Close to, I'd say, probably 15 minutes west of Carrington. I wasn't a Boy Scout. No one come after me for my directional skills. Azeville. I'm still using maps after all this time. So over here in Ravenaville, they just had a ceremony at the monument for Dick Winters. So his nephew, I don't know if you can hear it. They're singing the 101st song over there right now. But Dick Winters' nephew comes out here every year, and they have a ceremony on Captain Winters and everything he did with the 101st Airborne. And they usually get quite a bit of big brass. General Pappas was out here and just half the army. So I'm sorry it's loud. I'm trying to walk to the car without losing y'all.
Well, you don't look like you're ready to jump out of an airplane.
No, but tomorrow I will be wearing a dress to jump, which is very exciting.
So you'll jump tomorrow?
Yes. So if the weather holds, we've had amazing weather this week. Normally, take my shoes off and tramping around grass all day. So normally, the last couple of years the weather's been really bad, but we've had beautiful jumping weather. There was a big jump in Carrington 2 days ago. Carrington was liberated by the 101st. The 101st Airborne First Assault came in, performed a show for the audience, and then the Round Canopy Parachute jumped in. And then yesterday in Marie Dumont, which was the first town liberated on D-Day, we had another jump there with the airborne demonstration in the French Airborne Center. So it's been spectacular. It's like 80 years ago already.
Wow. And the weather's not good. I mean,
Up until like 10 minutes ago, it's been perfect weather.
I think that Churchill and Eisenhower might have had some problems with the weather 80 years ago.
I think so. It's last year mimicked the D-Day so well. We've been all praying, but yeah, it's June 4, so this is the first rain we've seen. So hopefully Eisenhower's delay won't hit us as well.
How many of our veterans from roll call have you seen them all?
Just a couple of them. I haven't been able to see Jack Stowe yet, but Don Graves is over there in his element, and Charlie Braun. Just saw Charlie. Yeah, so they're having a wonderful time. They're surrounded by French people who just want to meet them and talk to them and hear about their stories, and it's really cool for a lot of the French folks to be like Don and Al because they were in the Pacific. And they never had the opportunity to be veterans who were over in the Pacific. So it's very special. It's very cool for them.
Well, tell us about you've gone to the place, your landing zone, and you've gotten all your briefings. And
yes, let's see. I'll walk over. I was going to show you kind of an example of what field we're in. We're going barefoot right now. So there's been a lot of walking. It's been fun. So I'm going to switch this around. This is a field of kind of like what we're going to be jumping tomorrow. If I can. So just a big open farm area. And I'm jumping OSS, which is no female operatives were jumped in over Normandy, but the months leading up to Normandy and then afterwards in August, they would jump in female spies. And they were wireless operators and couriers. So that's why what I'll be doing is Faith, my sister, will be doing that. and that's where the dress comes in, because they wear these big like Teletubby outfits. We talked about this last year, but they wear these big Teletubby coveralls, and then you take it off on the drop zone and you have a dress on, and it's fantastic. So
Wow.
So, what team are you jumping with?
I'm with the round canopy parachute team.
Okay.
We have RCPT France, which is run by Hubert and Dominique, and then RCPT USA, which is Bill Markham. They're a terrific organization. They focus on history and providing really a home for paratroopers. So a lot of guys, when they get out of the airborne, the airborne is a very tight, very tight. So when they get out and they aren't jumping anymore and they aren't with their buddies, they feel lost. So RCPT provides a real family environment for them. And one of the members, Frank Cashman, was telling me recently about a side, which you don't see this a lot because RCPT is primarily about jumping, the historical aspect, but it has some real life-saving aspects because there are guys who got out of the service, didn't know what to do, and were like, maybe life's not worth living anymore. And then someone reached out to them and said, try jumping with us. And then, hey, I'm not gonna end it. I'm gonna got something to live for now. And that's really awesome to be part of an organization like that, which it's not just about having fun. It's really meaningful and about giving nourishment and a family to people who just they want to keep that up. They need to continue that. So it's pretty wonderful. We've got about, I think, 450 jumpers with us. It's a lot.
That's a lot of. What are you going to jump out of?
C-47. So we have 4 C-47s. Most of them were here at D-Day. We had more, but one of them is stuck in Greenland with engine failure. One of them is stuck in Maine with a new engine. So we shouldn't be surprised because they are 85 years old. But tomorrow we're jumping the That's All Brother, which I believe is the lead plane that flew on D-Day. It's one of the lead planes. We have the Pegasus, which is a British C-47. Another one I can't remember. I'm not familiar with it because I haven't jumped it yet. And then the Placid Lassie, which dropped the 82nd Airborne on D-Day up closer to Cherbourg area. So we have like D-Day warbirds we'll be jumping out of. So tomorrow they're doing a cross channel. So we're starting in Cherbourg, and then they're going to do 2 lifts where they go over, do a drop in England, and then fly back across the channel and drop them in France. And then we'll have a couple local French jumps. But the cross channel, the guys did that the other day and said it was unbelievable. It's the closest thing you could experience to the actual event, minus being shot at terrifically. Because they spent 30, 45 minutes in the plane flying over the channel. The doors open, they're looking down, they're breathing in the fumes, they're wearing the uniforms, they're looking in the plane, watching and seeing and feeling kind of that anticipation that a lot of our boys felt before D-Day. Obviously, minus the fact that they're jumping into a war zone. So they were greeted with oysters and cider and baguettes rather than anti-aircraft gun and flak.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Liberty, will you go back to the dress issue for just a second? Can
Yes.
you give the name of 1 or 2 of the SOE women that you have really grown to respect, and also just explain why it's significant to jump in a dress and then take off the uniform and walk off the field?
So I think my 2 favorite operatives, one didn't jump, the other was a jumper. Virginia Hall, she's kind of famous at this point, but I'm just fascinated by her. She had a wooden leg named Cuthbert. She lost it in a shooting accident in the 30s, but she was very gung-ho creature, very independent, and she was recruited for the British Special Operations Executive and was sent to France, where she set up resistance movements for 4 years, and then in that time period, she transitioned over to the British Special, the OSS, Office of Strategic Services. But for 4 or 5 years, she was a highly successful manager of resistance movements, and she did so many things. She hiked the Pyrenees Mountains one time, escaping in her wooden leg. Remember, this is like 1942, so prosthetics are terrible at this time. and very calm, very organized woman. And then another one is Pearl Witherington, another very adventurous creature. She was parachuted into France. At one point, her resistance unit, so they had different groupings all over France so that you aren't all coming from one hub, because then if one hub is compromised, everyone is killed. So in her hub, however, they got raided, someone betrayed them. A lot of the people got captured. She was working with the Maquis, which was the French individual resistance movement. So there was the unit set up by the OSS and the SOE and then the Maquis. So she ends up running around directing over, I think, 1,000, maybe more than that, Frenchmen, which love the French, but the idea of organizing and directing 1,000 French resistance guys is a terrible thought, because everyone has their own opinion on what should be done. But she did this, and she kept writing home to England saying, hey, this is not my job. Send someone else to be here. I was sent here as a courier and a wireless operator, not to tell 1,000 Maquis what to do. So those are my two favorites. I think Pearl, she just died a couple of years ago. Very, just fabulous creatures, put together, organized. Like these ladies, they're spies. They're in a wartime, but they keep themselves meticulously groomed and combed, because it's part of the time period where you have a lot of dignity too. So great ladies. So the dresses, so that's why Faith is doing the same thing. That's why we represent them a little bit, even though they didn't jump on D-Day. I mean, no girls were jumping in 42s either. So as a female parachutist, we'll represent them to kind of tell that story, because not a lot of people know about them. I only learned about them a couple of years ago. It's opened a big door for me I think there was 33 operatives the SOE sent over, females. And the last one died last October. So, it's a sturdy, there's a monument up in Plymouth, Massachusetts about the Pilgrim Mothers, which refers to the women as having sturdy virtue. And I like to think these women had a lot of that too, very plucky, very hardened in a way, because they had to do some really difficult things. Like Pearl Witherington, when she was 100, she was describing to a reporter how you kill someone by stabbing or strangling. What's the most efficient way? But also maintaining an element of ladylikeness along with it. So there you go.
Will Faith jump tomorrow too, or just you?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Same airplane?
Yes, hopefully so.
Okay.
I'll have a half a stick of Phillips's.
That's kind of exciting. We will have two of your daughters flying. Honor's not jumping, is he?
No, I'm hoping to get him to come through and learn how to jump pretty soon. We'll see. My goal is to have a whole stick of Phillips's, so when they call off manifest, it'll drive him crazy.
Yeah, have your whole family out there, and y'all do one of those circles, where you hold hands on your way down.
So that's called daisy chaining, and that is strictly forbidden. So Bob Bearden told us. So daisy chaining is when they attach every jumper to each other. So when you exit, you are all linked together. It's so dangerous, but they almost all got grounded for it. And Bob Bearden, who was 90 something at the time, it was just one of his favorite memories. It was terrible.
What is Faith doing over there?
She's having a nap right now. But she's been doing basically the same thing. We've had a lot of just jump recon. When you're with the team, you have to kind of focus on the jump rather than other things. But we've tried to catch up with a couple of the vets who we know. So we'll see what plays out after that.
That'll be cool. Carrie, have you ever heard Faith sing?
Yes.
No, I don't believe I have.
Okay, you need to go on her Facebook and hear her sing.
Okay.
She sings a lot of the songs from the 30s and 40s. So
I love that.
I kind of had this vision of maybe her being at the gift giving party, doing a few songs.
Oh, that's an
That's
idea.
a good idea.
Yeah.
She sounds like she's coming out to 1940s radio. It's beautiful.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to her about that. It'd be awesome.
Faith
Okay.
Liberty. Good job. Yeah.
Ask Dawn and Al if they're wearing their patriotic socks.
Oh, I will. I
And
will
if you
have
think
to.
about it, get some pictures, please.
Yeah, we need pictures.
Yes, I'll definitely do that. I think I'm gonna try and run into them later this evening.
Right.
I imagine so. They're both holding court, per usual.
Of course they
Yeah,
are.
of
Of
course.
course.
Mhm.
And you know, Jack is with the Best Defense Foundation, not the
Yes.
American group. So sometimes they get together, from what I understand. But
I think I'm gonna see them on the 9th. I'm gonna look. I've told Jack I'm gonna try and I'm not gonna land right in front of him. I can't because that would be bad. But I'm gonna try and land as close to him as possible so I can come say hi.
oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
one of
gonna
the-
have to. I think I'm gonna have to go because my phone is almost about to die.
Okay. Well,
Walking in someone's backyard by accident and being hollered at in French. So awkward.
well, we'll have you on soon after you get
Okay.
back. And if there's a time before you come back that you want to jump on, just call me and we'll just put you on and talk and see what's going on. But this is Liberty Phillips, founder of Bridge to History.
Thank you, and thanks for letting me just pop on here. I know it's slightly chaotic, I'm afraid, because it's been it's been a chaotic day, but it's pretty wonderful to be back here on the 80th. I was here when I was 14 on the 67th, and it's changed a lot. Obviously, just because things grow up, but it's still some things haven't changed at all, which is the gratitude of the French. And you see the scars of war all around us with the batteries and the monuments. We saw Charles de Glopper monument yesterday. He was like 6'7", 7 foot tall. Private from Charlie 1325 Glider Company, and he received the Medal of Honor. He was killed. It's a story, but it's anniversary 80 years later, and then go and talk to the vets immediately after. It's very special. It's fast paced here, a little chaotic, but very electric, very patriotic. So thanks for letting me pop on for a minute.
Well, thank you for being here. We look forward to having you back soon.
All righty, I'll send photos over.
Okay. Please do keep the social media
Beat me
posted.
together. Yes, we'll do that.
Thank you, Liberty.
All right, bye, y'all.
Bye bye. Bill, can you
Rick?
tell us real?
Rick, I've got to take off also, I'm afraid, but thank you so much for letting me be a part of this today and for getting Liberty in and just for everything you guys do at Roll Call, for helping us have an avenue to honor and remember. It's just critically important, and I'm so grateful for y'all.
Well, we're
Wow.
so grateful for you, your husband, and your whole family, because y'all have blessed us at Roll Call tremendously in talking to you and Liberty over the last several years. There's hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of World War II veterans that y'all have touched their lives, and Liberty's got a whole archive of letters that she's written to the veterans and letters that she's gotten back. So hopefully pretty soon we'll have the Liberty letters when we'll have a podcast in the evening and she could read a letter and tell about that veteran. So we just,
Yes, I'm working on helping her get that started this summer with you, Rick. I've got a timeline. We've got to get that going. It would be amazing.
well, with eight children, it's kind of like herding cats, isn't it?
I'll tell you, it's so weird. I'm home alone right now. Hope nobody knows where I live, but this is the first time in 10 years I've been by myself in my house for more than one night. It's so weird.
You don't have a kid with needs coming up there, Mama, I need this or I need that. So
I know. Oh, I've gone over to the neighbors to have somebody to talk to.
The quiet, I was going to say, the quiet must be killing you.
It is. It is. Thanks, y'all. Thanks so much. And I can't wait to be at Roll Call at the end of the month with some of our B2H kids and have them have the opportunity to tell you all what it means to a 9 and a 10 and an 11-year-old to have this investment in them and to have the opportunity to start learning this history young. It's just,
Absolutely.
They're so excited to come.
And I think that both Carrie and Mary have some grandchildren that are in that
I
age
do.
group that
We do.
Awesome.
you can go
Send them
to
to us.
Bridge to History, and there's an application there. And
I've got one in mind for sure. He's a kind of a little bit of
If I could
history
get them
buff.
out of baseball and football, they might get more interested. But they do love Don Graves.
Yep.
that's good.
Everybody loves Don. Well, thank y'all. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice day.
Thank you for
Bye-bye.
raising some good kids.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, that was pretty interesting to see
Yeah.
Liberty, because we've all been with her over the years and her family, and to see her over there doing what she has such a passion to do. And now that she's jumping, she's really involved in that. And Lorna, you ought to try that sometime. Have you done that? Huh?
I thought about it. I'll jump tandem.
You could be our Santa Claus.
Jovi the elf jumping out of an airplane.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah.
Carrie, have you ever jumped?
No, I've never really had an interest in it, but recently I've kind of like entertained the thought of it, but that doesn't mean that I'm anywhere close to actually doing it.
How about you, Mary?
You know, when I was stationed at the Air Force Academy, I had the opportunity to do it, and I worked in the hospital as the only non-hospital person when there was an in-flight emergency, and a guy who had jumped a bazillion times got picked up and slammed to the ground by those wonderful winds that whipped through there. And I said, I'm good. I don't need to jump out of the
exactly.
The guy lived long enough to get to the emergency room at the Air Force Academy Hospital, and he passed. And so that was the day I decided, as long as the airplane's perfectly good, I think I'll just stay inside of it.
That's a good way to be. I don't have any desire to do that. Well, you know, another person that she couldn't be on today because she's with Don and Al is Tracy Hunter, and she's with Beyond the Call.
Right.
And they have really done a lot for roll call and for our World War II veterans.
They sure have.
And Mary, you took a trip to Pearl Harbor with Tracy's organization and Black Rifle Coffee, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. It'll be it was the 81st anniversary. So it was a year after everyone else went. So it'll be 2 years, I guess, coming up. And of course, they're working on this year's trip to get those guys over there. And again, Black Rifle has been very generous and is taking care of that trip for Al and for Don again this year. For them to go over. But as you see, you know, more and more of the Pearl Harbor, I think the last one passed, didn't he, here recently? The last survivor?
Maybe the last one that was on Arizona? Or
that might be it. The last one that was on the Arizona. Yeah. And so it's a great trip to go on, but I think that anytime, I don't think that you have to. A lot of people go, oh, it won't be the same if I don't go with this group of vets. Well, not everybody can go with the group of vets. You know, they're very particular. You can only have so many people. But anybody can go anytime, and you can go to Normandy, whether it's with a group like Dwayne Lee's taken or any other group or on your own. And you can go to Pearl Harbor and you can go see those sites and you can read those names. You can be at the reflection pool that's there at the Arizona, and it's all worth seeing and experiencing. Everyone should do that at least once in their lifetime if they can. The problem is those things are very expensive, and unless unless you're fortunate enough to be able to afford them, it can be hard. So sometimes you have to live vicariously through other folks who can.
That's right.
That's why we try to get the sights and the sounds. You know, that's why when I went to Pearl Harbor with Don, I tried to come on as often as I could and just do a live stream of what we were experiencing. So maybe other people that couldn't physically be there could experience that. And it's harder to do when they do big groups like this, because in just the group going with American, there's over 210 people in that one group. And then you've got the Best Defense Foundation, all these others. So it's really hard because they're scheduling the time for you to be able to do something like, really bring that experience to somebody that can't be there. So it'll be neat when I make that trip with Dwayne. I'm going to try my best to bring it to the audience as much as I can next year.
That's good. Yeah. Lorna, have you or Carrie gone to Pearl Harbor?
I have not.
Okay.
It's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah, I did, but it was like back in the 80s. It's been that long. I would love to go back for sure.
It's been a while since I was there, and I had the honor of going on the Admiral's yacht on the tour of the bay. So, even whenever I went, 50 years after, you could see that oil still coming up from the Arizona. So,
wow.
But, another.
You see the strife marks on the buildings, and I mean it's crazy. The benefit of going to Pearl Harbor outside of a group, of course, is that as long as you coordinate with Tracy in advance, she lives there, and she works with the Pearl Harbor Museum, so you could still go have a lot of those same experiences because Tracy can help you through that in there. And then Dwayne, of course, if you go on his trip to Normandy, he walks you through the entire thing.
Yeah, you get the full tour with a historian. Right. A tour guide.
I'm going to do that. That's definitely on my list of things to do, for sure.
You absolutely do. You need to do that, Carrie.
Yeah.
One of our...
And Rick, I have to apologize. I'm going to have to get off here in a second. I know you keep having your guests leave the show.
We're just about
I've got
finished.
Somebody waiting for me. Okay.
No, we're just about
then
finished. If you need to leave, we're just going to kind of end it up in just a minute. So I just wanted to mention, for a lot of these veterans, American Airlines has provided the transportation over there. And Randy Stillinger, he's just a great guy and does so much for our military and veterans. That's his job. But he blesses roll call with airline miles, the Gold Star Parents Retreat, and many other veteran organizations. So they can bring people in or take people different places. So, Randy, we just thank you and American Airlines for all you do for our military and veterans. So,
for sure.
It's been a good show.
I don't know if you saw Carla's message, and I know Carla's listening. Her birthday's coming up, and she wants to make that trip this year. Now, the roll call luncheon is the 8th. So I'm like, maybe if we could do it where I could come home on the 7th, Carla, I'd be happy to go with you. But the roll call luncheon kind of interferes. Don.
And Holidays and Heroes weekend. Holidays and Heroes weekend is December 7th and 8th.
Carla, can we celebrate a week later? Let's go celebrate a week later. That way, Carrie and I will be free.
Okay, we got some other people that are joining in here. This is my friend Richard Harden. He came to our clay shoot. He's a good friend of mine, a good friend of my brother, and said, "Hey, we ought to get Carrie, Lorna, and Mary to go to Granite Ranch and tandem jump at the next Brothers Keepers." I took Don there a couple of years ago. It's a magnificent ranch out at Junction, and they bring a jump team in from California. They have helicopters, and they're jumping paraplegics, quadriplegics, amputees. Everybody jumps there. So it's a great place to be. So Richard, we'll take you up on that. Mary Hink just said,
Richard's
be
trying
safe,
to back
everybody.
me in a corner now, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He is.
That'd be the way to
And it'll
do
be
it.
podcast live on Hometown Heroes, right?
Yeah.
I'll be on the ground looking up. We've had a really good podcast today from San Antonio, from Fort Worth, Westworth Village, Benbrook, and Normandy. So it's been a good podcast. So Carrie and Lorna, thank you so much for being part of this today, and thank you for going out and honoring our veterans. Here's Debbie Thomas. It's so impressive and heartwarming to see Daddy off to Normandy. He's having a blast. It's Al Chatwin's daughter. So, he is.
Yes, you do.
Oh, yeah.
Just to dangle the carrot a little bit more, Richard said it's all free and rooms for everyone. So,
Okay, Richard.
but I can tell you that
Oh,
Don Graves
my.
was there, and this is a rugged place. They've got nice facilities. I mean, they've got cabins for people, but at about 1 o'clock in the morning, Don was still doing shots of tequila, and I thought,
don't doubt it.
how's he going to get up in the morning? And he
And
got
he
up
did.
before I
He
did.
still does.
Yeah. Probably singing Danny Boy.
He's amazing.
He is. Well, thank you all for being on today. Lorna, thank you for all you do for our veterans and our military and for the Fort Worth Air Power Council. And Carrie, thank you for all you do for our veterans and our military, the Air Power Council and Air Power Foundation. And we really just admire you and Bob and your commitment to our nation and our veterans and military. So thank you all for being on today. It was,
Well, we enjoyed it. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk to you soon.
See you soon.
Wow,
Hey,
that was fun.
Yeah, and Carrie's got a message there for Mr. Charlie, and I'll bet you Richard can make sure that happens for Mr. Charlie on his 100th birthday.
Okay.
But he's got a couple of years to go. So Charlie is one of our younger guys because he was World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. But he's quite the hoot, that guy. And he's at Normandy now. Charlie's there. So
Well, we had so many comments today. I was just going through them all, and that's it. We saw that one, and just a lot of good comments. There's Troy Melton, my good friend from Wichita Falls, and it's just it's unbelievable about the network of people that you and I get to be with.
we are incredibly blessed
We
to
are,
have.
'cause
Right. We get to meet so many people and hear so many great stories and help folks where we're able. That's kind of what we do, right? Serve. We continue to serve, Rick. You and
That's
I
right.
and Lorna and Carrie, everybody that we encounter has just got such a heart for service and for veterans. And it's just uplifting. And then you talk to Liberty and it's like, woo, you got...
Yeah.
She is just always so full of energy and positivity, and she's always smiling and just, oh my goodness.
And to see that generation that Liberty is in, faith and jubilee and honor, and to know that they're going to keep alive the love and support and passion that we have and many others have for our veterans and our military. And you think about just the networking that happens, and Lorna and had talked about Cliff Stump, and you talked about whenever Carmen Giese and Cliff got to meet, that was whenever Danny from Austria came over.
Mm-hmm.
And I've told this story before, but I had a friend and he had a friend, and his friend's father had died, and they wanted pictures done at the National Cemetery. And I said, I'll do it. Achilles was his name. I think he'd come to roll call. He wrote a book, The Best Seat in the House. But that morning, this other friend of mine that worked for the USO out at the airport said, are you going to this funeral? And it's kind of random. I said, well, yeah, I am. She said, there's a lady that came by the USO yesterday, and she's from Austria, and she's going to be at that funeral. Try to meet her. And that's where Danny and I met. And then she met Cliff on that same trip. And then I think probably the next time she came to the United States, she and Cliff came to roll call. And it's just those little things, they don't just happen. I mean, that just wasn't a fluke deal.
Those are God winks, right? You've heard of God winks before. That's what
right.
I think those are,
And I talked to my friend that had asked me to do that for his friend not long ago. And I told him, I said, I want to just kind of share this story to tell how that phone call changed a man's life, because Cliff, he had a great following of supporters. Put him in that facility that was real nice, and
Right.
had a lot of love, birthday parties and things like that. And his network grew. So it's just
Right.
amazing the way those network things happen. So
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
month at Roll Call, we've got Liberty
We
Phillips.
do.
So
Yes.
it
And
should
I'm
be
glad you
good.
highlighted American Airlines, because it's with American Airlines miles that we're able to bring these young folks in from the West Coast to come here and share their stories. The Harmon girls, Kay Harmon's daughters, have gone on this trip as well and participated with Liberty. And they're going to be there, and they're going to sing the national anthem that day. They've
That
been
is good.
practicing, and they sound so amazing. It is just going to be, I think, a really neat lunch. We haven't, we have for many, many years only went, well, we're just going to have veterans share their stories. And, we started to really think about it as you and I were bringing people on Hometown Heroes that were not necessarily veterans, but had a connection some way, shape, or form, that they were doing things that affected veterans. And it was kind of like that blinding flash of the obvious that, well, why can't we do that at a roll call luncheon? Why can't we? And Richard, you haven't even heard her whole story yet. When you talk about Liberty, her story is just so amazing to talk about how she got so interested and everything. Unless, of course, you were listening to the podcast where she really shared. But it really opens your eyes to there are other folks that we can bring on here that maybe they're not veterans, but what they do for veterans is so special that we want to make sure that we bring those stories out, because there are so many different ways that those young people interact with our veterans. Kay Harmon's daughters, they've been serving lunches at the roll call lunch for, I think, 7 or 8 years. They've been serving lunches, and they're middle school kids, right? They're young people. So they've been serving since they were just, probably 5, 6 years old. They've been serving lunches to veterans and hearing stories and getting to see that, older people are not scary, because sometimes, let's face it, some people see an older person and they think creepy old dude, right? So they get to see a different side of the people that they walk past every day. So it really excites me. I think it's going to be a great lunch, and I'm really looking forward to it. And always thanks to American for their support.
It will be. And, we're talking about people that are great supporters. Chris, who said, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you both.
Yeah.
She is everywhere. She works with
everywhere.
VFW. I think, I'm pretty sure it's the VFW. And then she's out at the base.
American Legion.
One of those organizations.
Yeah.
But she's constantly out there just helping, and sometimes behind the scenes, most of the time behind the scenes, but she comes to the picnics at the base. She just is a powerhouse at helping people. So Chris, thank you for all you do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I had one picture here. This is Randy Stellinger. We talked about Randy. He's the military and veteran, I guess, liaison for American Airlines. And he's the guy that really makes all this happen. I don't know how he does it. He travels around the world taking veterans, and even whenever they have bring the fallen heroes back, he coordinates all that, gets the families out there on the tarmac so they can see their loved one's casket taken off the plane. And Randy, thank you for all you do. You're a great American.
And he's still serving. He's still in uniform. So he's a reservist, and he's still serving the country on top of it.
And his daughter, she was instrumental. She was the catalyst and everything behind the Gold Star Families Monument in Keller. So he's raising another generation of patriots too. So Randy, thank you, American Airlines, for all you do. Mary, it's been good.
Yep, absolutely, my friend.
Well, thank you all so much for being here. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. It was fun to do because we had a lot of people in different places, and I'm glad that Liberty was on. We tried to get Mitchell Bell and Tracy Hunter on, but they were at the event that Liberty was at, but she was able to pull away. So thank you all for your support. And we will see you next week on Hometown Heroes.